Welcome to Belmont Banter, the official podcast of Whitstable Town FC. Every week we chat to ex-players, supporters and invited guests here on Belmont Banter.
Welcome to the official podcast of Whitstable Town FC.
Whitstable Town Football Club's main sponsor is Fibertech UK Limited.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Belmont Banter. And this week we've got great treat for you. We've got Lee Bossun, who's got long connections with Whitstable Town. He's on the other end of the phone, but I can see him on Zoom. So how you doing, Lee?
I'm all good, thanks, Tony.
You're all good, except for we were talking off air and you've broken your leg, haven't you?
Yeah, I managed to break my leg playing for Whitstable Vets in October. And I say this is me now just starting to walk without crutches.
So the wife's not very happy with you then?
No, not when she had to come and pick me up on a Saturday morning.
No, I should think not. So you were playing for Whitstable Vets, what, down at the Belmont?
No, we were actually playing in Canterbury in a league game, but we have played a few games at the Belmont, which has been nice.
Oh, that's good. He's a good lad, Stephen. You met the chairman.
I'd met him and his son. His son refereed one of our games down there.
Yeah, he's good. Ethan, he's a lovely boy. He's a really good lad. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. Always nice people at Whitstable.
Yeah, absolutely. That's because you've been there. Right, we're gonna go full circle now. Just a while ago, you were telling me about your first game where you played over at Aylsham, which is where you're from. But you had connections with Whitstable right from, 12, 13?
Yeah, when I was 12, 13-year-old, my dad was assistant manager to Bill Craig. So every Tuesday night, I think it was then, or Thursday night, it would have been, I was training with the first team from then, really. So it was all good, because there was a lot of Aylsham lads there at the time.
David Gear for one.
No, that was before Dave's time.
Oh,
yeah, no, this is going back to Brian Gamble in goal, Bobby Miller, Willie Duncan, Paul Rimmer played up front, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
So that's got to be about 82, 83 time.
About then. Might even be earlier. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that sort of time. Yeah, because I think, I certainly saw you play for Brian in goal. Yeah, it would have been about that time. Yeah, amazing how time goes, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I say it's got to be around. I was about 12, 13. So I think I played for Snowdown in the Kent League when I was 14.
Amazing, isn't it? What a career you've had, and you've only just stopped now through a broken leg.
Yeah.
So football's in your blood, isn't it? Be honest.
Yes, yeah. I've done some miles in the Kent League.
You have, haven't you? Yeah. I mean, I've just done a lovely interview. You may have heard it with Andy Constable, and Andy's 40, and he's still playing. He's playing for Lyd Town now, or Lyd. Yeah, he's playing for Lyd, and he said that he's going to keep going as long as he possibly can. He said he just doesn't want to stop.
No, I don't blame him.
And he said it's not just the football, it's the camaraderie, it's the dressing room, it's the football club, it's everything.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons I went back to play Vets was the camaraderie, the banter. The football comes second, really. Then,
right. Right. Let's take you back then. So you started off where? Did you say Snowdown you were playing?
Snowdown, yeah, playing for Snowdown when I was 14.
And how long were you at Snowdown for?
Oh, I've been back and forward to Snowdown more than I have Whitstable. It's I probably had a couple of years there, and then I signed for Phil Nash at Canterbury when I was 16, playing in the Southern League for Phil Nash at Canterbury when I was 16. And I think every time he dropped me, I went back to Snowdown and had a game for them.
And then he came back to Canterbury again, yeah. Is that when they were playing where the Greyhound Stadium was, or the?
Yeah, that was Kingsmead, playing at Kingsmead in I think it was the Beezer Homes League back then.
Yeah. But that was a terrific standard. I mean, that was like, the pyramid was different then. It's got to be recognised. But Southern League football was quite a step, wasn't it? I mean, you were playing with some experienced players. Yeah,
I was playing with some really, ex-league players who, Pat Hilton just was there. Graham Knight was there. Yeah, there was a lot of ex-Gills players there. Well, not a lot, a couple. Yeah, and I was 16, in and out of the side really. and really doing quite well.
When did you finally leave Canterbury then? Because I know you said you were backwards and forwards to Snowdown, and Snowdown's going to come up a lot because of your affinity with the club. So
Yeah.
when did you finally leave Canterbury?
I left Canterbury for the first time properly to sign for Gravesend when I was 17. I always remember we played Gravesend, who were due to win the league that year, I think, and they had a fellow called Chris Weller from Chatham.
Yep.
You might
Yes,
know
Chris. Heard of Chris Weller, yeah.
He was part of the Gravesend setup, and he came. We played Gravesend early on, and I scored a volley from outside the box. We got beat 5-1, but that put us 1-0 up after 10 minutes, I think. Towards the last, played half a season up at Gravesend. They signed me, and I played the last half of the season at Gravesend when I was 17. In them days, obviously, I wasn't driving or anything. It was a train up to Gravesend, and so it was, at that time, it was too much, really. So I came back down, and I think I may have signed for Peter Merritt at Whitstable then, around about then.
And who was in the side that particular era? Who was there then? Was that what you were referring to? Were you talking about Gambrel, and what was it after then?
No, that was after. That was Peter Merritt's first time. I think Jerry Allen was playing. Nick Denley would have been inside. And there was a lot of Sheppey boys in the side, if I remember. But yeah, no, I don't know why I didn't stay there long. Again, because I'm a big baby and he probably dropped me, I left.
As Andy Constable says to me, he threw his toys out the bag.
Yeah, I'll say whenever I got dropped, I went back to Snowdown.
Well, you knew you were going to get a game. The prodigal son returning. Yeah. What position were you playing then in the early days?
All up front. Always played up front. Yeah, I didn't move. I sort of moved into midfield when I started managing Canterbury, really, which is sort of, what was I, 29 when I started managing Canterbury.
Yeah. At the time that you were playing for Peter Merritt at Whitstable, you must have been, what, 22, 23?
I was probably longer than that. I was probably about 19. I think when I sort of finished at Gravesend, I went back there. So I was 17, 18. I was about 19, I would have thought. Wow. I think Steve Watts was there. I'm trying to think. Glad Kipper from Faversham, he was in goal. I'm sure, yeah. But no, it's just always drawn back to Whitstable, between Whitstable and Snowdown.
It's quite strange how this happens, isn't it? With a particular club, you get an affinity with it, and that ends up being your club.
Here at Belmont Banter, we always try our best to bring you a quality podcast. At times the audio quality is not what we would like. This is due to the signal dropping out during recording, which is not evident live. We are always trying to improve, and hope that you continue to stay listening to us.
Yeah. I've always, obviously this is Whitstable, but I've always gone back to Whitstable because that's the club that, I say is my club.
Yeah.
Still look for their results now, and that's the club I've had the most affinity with, I think.
And when do you think you had your best season with Whitstable?
Well, I won the Kent League Golden Boot in 85, 86.
Do you know what? That takes some doing, you got what, 22, 23 clubs? I don't know how many there was then.
Yeah.
But to come out on top is an achievement, isn't it? I know 2 or 3 of the boys that I've had on that have done it as well. They all put it right up there as the pinnacle of what they've done.
Oh yeah. From a a sort of selfish point of view, it is what I aim to do. In from a personal point of view, for 4 or 5 seasons, whether I be at Whitstable or Folkestone, I was always in the top 3 of the Golden Boot, chasers, or the pack, if you like. The 2 years before I won it, I think I lost out by a goal.
Who was the manager at that period?
Wayne Godden was the manager then.
Yeah,
I think Wayne was there about 5 years, and I think I probably had 3 years there with him.
Can you remember where you moved on to there? Did you go back to Snowdown again?
No, I was my dad and Simon Kay took over from Wayne, and I think I had a fallout with them two and went to Canterbury with Miriam George and a few of the lads.
So you fell out with your dad.
That happens at a regular basis back then.
Yeah, I remember that period with Simon. Simon's a lovely guy, and one person that's played for him said he's such a nice man, he's too soft to be a manager.
Yeah, well, they were two totally opposites, and it just didn't, for me, it just didn't work, them working together. You know, I think they were quite good friends before they became joint managers, and I don't even know if they speak now. I don't know. I think they do, but I don't think it. But it just didn't work with them, and we had a good side as well.
You did, didn't you? Yeah, it was a decent side. It just didn't seem to gel, did it?
No, it wasn't the players; it was the managers.
Yeah, the managers. Was that when Seth was in goal? Seth Kay was in goal.
No, Seth wasn't in goal. Later. Yeah, we had that's the side we had. We had Lee Hook in goal.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
And he went on to play. Well, he come from Wolves as a kid, and then he went on and played for Dover for
a long time. Yeah,
a few years.
He's still coaching now, isn't he?
I think he is still doing a bit down there. Yeah, but you know, Sean Pilbeam, we've done a lot of decent football stuff. Who else was there? Jacko was still there, I think. Curley had gone by then. Russell Mason was still there. Dave Gear, Gary Miller had turned up, but we had
that was a good side then. We had
a good side, yeah.
Tell me something. When Jacko played on the right, didn't he?
Yep.
Who played on the left normally?
Only Darren.
That's it. I couldn't remember the other day because what they used to do, which I loved, any time during the game, the two of them would switch over, wouldn't they? And that used to confuse the hell out of the opposition.
Yeah, and then Jacko sort of played in the hole behind me and whoever was up front with me. And we had Grant Gallagher there, didn't we? Well, before, when Wayne was manager, we had Grant Gallagher there, who was a cracking player.
He was a good player, yeah. I mean, attack-wise, for me, that was just heaven because they were both such good wide players. For you, the man in the middle, that must have been like meat and drink.
Oh, I mean, the few years that I had those around me, I think the year I got my golden boot, I'm probably at 48 goals, I think. And probably if you had the sitters I missed, then it could have been 68. They just made chances for fun for me, in all honesty.
The nice thing about it when you see a trio like that is you know what they're going to do when they get the ball and they know where you're going to go.
Yeah.
It's almost like telepathy in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. I say we had another, that's going back when Wayne had it. I think we were unlucky that was the Tommy Sampson era of Herne Bay, that they were just steamrolling everyone.
Yes.
And we were trying to be the best of the rest type thing. And I think we finished fourth a couple of times, I think, and that was probably about right. But it was a good side.
It just lacked something, didn't it? Maybe what it lacked was the gelling between the two managers. Who knows?
Yeah.
They weren't at it then, but we've had some good sides, and that era for me really sticks out. Lovely, lovely time, happy times.
Yeah, it was. It was a real nice time for the sort of years I was there. A nice time to be at the club.
And when your time effectively came to finish at Whitstable, where did you go next?
I went to Canterbury. I went back to Canterbury. It was, I think, by this time I was about 28, 29. And in all honesty, I was probably a bit done for. I'd sort of moved back and playing in midfield. I'd had a few injuries, and it was just, I suppose it was an easy out for me. There was a few of my mates there. And then, I went there and played there. And then, obviously, I went on to manage them for a couple of seasons.
And did you enjoy
that's when we were ground hopping.
And did you enjoy that?
I loved it, yeah. Yeah, it's one of them. There was more, no one expected us to win because we had no money, no ground, because we were lucky to have a kit sometimes. And it was good. It was hard, but enjoyable. And it was a good grounding for me in sort of management.
So you had 2 years there. Did you?
I had a couple of years there managing, and then I think they were on about coming out of the league or something like that, or something happened. And then I had probably a good 3 or 4 years where I just went from club to club. I had a little spell at Lords Wood again with Wayne. I had a season and a half at Hythe with Dave Lindstrom. Then I had a spell at Sheppey with Jeff Record. it was just like,
What, you played for some decent managers, haven't you?
yeah. I had in between that, I was back in with Canterbury with Alf Bentley. Some real good managers.
Do you know, one of the reasons why I love doing this is listening to you guys talking about all the different managers and players, and it just sort of like, it all comes back. It's really, really nice. I really enjoy it. But
I had probably 3 spells at Folkestone with 3 different managers.
So you really did do some ground hopping then, didn't you?
Yeah. I went through a stage where I just wasn't happy anywhere, and I sort of ended up back at Whitstable and Snowdown, really. So I went to Folkestone, if I'm honest, for the money. And then that was with Darren Eyre. Darren Eyre was manager then. Really good for me. And I think I scored 35 goals in probably 38, 40 games one season for them.
Looking at goals in then, I mean...
I've got my goals wherever,
Yeah.
They got their money's worth.
Got their money's worth, yeah. That's good. Management, did it stop for you then? That was just a 2-year spell?
No, I came back. I left Canterbury and came back and managed Snowdown in the Kent County League, and we finished second in that league twice, I think. And I was getting players like myself who were past their sale by date. I had Timmy Dixon over there with me, and Dave Armstrong and Sean, and a lot of good players who were. And it was good for us. We had, real good time, good couple of seasons. And then I went to Ramsgate as number 2 to Peter Hook.
Oh, right, Peter. I like Peter as well.
Yeah, he's a lovely fella.
He's a nice man, isn't he?
Yeah. When I had a season over there. He finished halfway through the season for one reason or another, and I took it on to the end of the season. I don't know if I got the sack or I just left.
There comes a time when you're doing that and the fog of it all comes over your head, doesn't it?
Well, Jimmy Ward was still on the bench more than me, I think. Or behind the bench.
Nice one. Did that not give you the tempt you then to pursue management long term, or?
I had sort of a few injuries, and because I was still trying to play and do this, and I thought, right, I'm not going to bother now. And a lad called Benno asked me to go to Deal Reserves and just play. And I thought, you know what? I'm 35, 36. I'm going to go over Deal and just play in their reserves and enjoy myself. Well, I ended up playing in the first team. And I think we got to the last 32 of the Vars. Well, there's myself, Gary Miller, again, a couple of the old boys. And we had a real good few years there. And then what happened is I finished playing probably when I was 38, 39, I finished. And then that was in Deal first team. And I took the reserve team on. We won a couple of cups, midweek cup. And I think I had 3 years. Yeah, it was about 3 years managing the reserves over there. And then I started a new job. So I sort of stepped down, and I think Gary Miller took over. But he was there with me anyway. So it was just...
and then the reins over.
Yeah, and then Gary did well.
The new job you started, that wasn't when you got into the pub trade, was it?
No, that was, believe it or not, I was working for Faversham Coachworks, driving a pink double-decker bus around the country for La Senza, the underwear company. That's the only thing that would get me to pack in football.
You couldn't make it up. You imagine sitting in a dressing room and telling the boys that's what you did for a living.
Well, I worked with Daniela Bucks, Gary Lineker's ex-wife, and just the Pussycat Dolls. They were all on it. It was it's the only thing that's going to get me away from football.
Oh dear, what a journey. What a journey. That's fantastic. So literally that was the period when you stopped management playing properly. When I say properly, forgive me, even if you're kicking it around in a park, it's still a game of football. So
yeah. Well, I turned out for Snowdown then, turned out for Snowdown in I think it was a Canterbury and District League, and then I took my first pub on after that. When I was 2 years later, I took my first pub on. So pub life takes over, and my belly got bigger.
Well, I'm surprised that you never had your own. Did you have a football team?
Well, in the pub?
Yeah, the pub.
Not the pub I had in Canterbury. I didn't, but
No.
I then took a pub on in Aylsham as well. So
Yeah.
I then took Snowdown back on, and they played out of our pub. But it's difficult kicking your players out of the pub on a Friday night.
It's not easy, is it? Yeah, you've got a game in the morning. That's the last one for you. Yeah, are you the landlord or are you the gaffer? You know.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So yeah, we turned up a bit worse for wear on a few games.
I can imagine. Yeah. Yeah.
But it was good fun. We had, it was more for me. It was proper fun football, and it was. We won more than we lost.
I've got an empathy with that. I ran a pub for 8 years, and we used to have a cricket team, but it was only a cricket team if we could play on a Sunday afternoon after 3 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, we used to get asked to go and play against sort of like the B team or something somewhere, where they hadn't had a game. Oh, we got some thrashings, I'll tell you.
Yeah. No, we turned up with Snowdown. So when I had the pub, we turned up with 9 a few times.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. We had guys turning up with shorts on and black shoes, and oh goodness me.
Yeah.
We roped a couple in one day. We were short. We had a game in the afternoon. I was going around the bar saying to them, anybody fancy a game of cricket this afternoon? You know, we had 2 lads who'd never, ever been on a cricket pitch. And you see the terror in their faces when you've got some burly guy throwing down a ball at zilch miles an hour. It's so funny.
Yeah, no, that's when you know you're playing on some pitches. I mean, I broke at 42. I was playing for Snowdown, and I broke my ankle. It wasn't a bad break, but I was in a cast for 8 weeks, and I fell down a pothole. No one near me. I just fell down a pothole.
Oh God! You've had some really, really good times, haven't you?
Yeah. I can't complain at all, if I'm honest.
No, I mean, all joking aside, winning the Golden Boot, for any level of football, proves that you're the best in that league. And to be honest, the Kent League at times has been a good league to play in, especially when you played. Yeah.
Oh, it was. To win the Golden Boot when we were finishing 4th or 5th is probably that bigger achievement, because there was some good centre forwards in them 4 sides ahead of us.
But it just goes to show you've got the ability, given the service, you'd score the goals.
Yeah, no, I've always, I think some people think I believe too much in my own ability at times, but no, I don't think I've ever let anyone down when whoever signed me to score goals.
And if I was to say to you, what's the best dressing room that you've ever been in? Like for the camaraderie, the crack, whatever you want to call it.
I would say Whitstable / Folkestone, but probably 3 or 4 of those lads who I'd sort of been with a long time. Yeah. Gary Miller, Dave Gear, Miriam George, Peter Bradley, Darren Eyre, who else? Ricky Rayner, Chris Hampshire. They've all been in good, and between Whitstable and Folkestone, that's been nice.
That sounds really nice. That's really good.
I mean, even when I would say we weren't that old, but we were bringing the young lads from Whitstable through. Curly, Jacko, Jimmy Pickard. That was a real good dressing room when we were, because they were good players. They should have all played higher than what they did. Well, no, not Curly, because he did. I think Curly did, and poor old Jacko broke his leg, didn't he?
Yeah, he broke his leg. Yeah, he was on his way. I think
Jimmy was always a good player, always steady.
Yeah, he was.
He's another one who come and played at Snowdown for me.
Yeah, I like Jimmy a lot. He's a nice lad, lovely lad.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, when you do something like this, you realise the good lads that you've shared a dressing room with.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't believe that he used to, because he worked on the railways, Jimmy, didn't he? Jimmy Pickard. I can't believe that he'd come off a night shift and play football. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and he was still doing that when he played for me at Snowdown in the Kent County League.
Goodness me.
Good lad.
And you talk about quality. I had quite a conversation with him one day about this, and he said to me, Tony, if I was to get the rest that the Premiership players play, well, the Premier League, then he was talking about, like the First Division. He said, if I was to get the rest that the First Division get the training that they get the food that they get,
Yeah.
the dietary information and everything. He said, I'm sure that I could have played at that level. That's what he said to me.
Yeah.
And that doesn't apply just to Jimmy. There's a few players.
That applies to a lot of players in our standard. I'll say our standard. That's
I mean, if you was to take away all of the stuff that's surrounding all these, let's say they're mollycoddled, which in a way they are, everything's done for them, and they put them in a situation where they've got to go and do a day's work, sometimes physical work all day, and then go playing a game of football, they couldn't do it.
No, they couldn't. No,
they couldn't do it, could
they? I used to work most Saturday mornings. It wasn't hard work what I was doing on a Saturday morning, but you had to get up at 6 o'clock, go to work, go home at 10, get ready for football, and I suppose 9 out of 10 players at our level were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they certainly did, and it's still going on now, of course. With the today.
Yeah, and I suppose it's even harder for them now because of the way the leagues are set out.
Yes, very much so. I mean, the travelling now is even worse than it was, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we used to moan if we had to go to Greenwich on a Tuesday night, and
down to Hastings or Crowborough or anywhere like that. It's a nightmare. That's another thing as well, work-wise, being able to get the time off. I mean, if you've got a game on a Tuesday night, you've got to end up finishing work at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon to get there.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, all the time I was sort of playing, I was either working for myself or working with my dad. So it's, unless we'd fell out, he'd moan about me leaving early.
I love it. It comes back to you and your dad having rows. Brilliant. I'm going to have to get him on and get his side of the story.
It'll be good.
It'll be good, well, Geary said to me I've got to get him on, so it'll be good. I'd love to. I'd like to get Jacko on as well. Are you in touch with Jacko at all?
I haven't seen Jacko. Cool. I haven't seen Jacko since I went into CES to buy something and he was stood behind the counter. That was a couple of years ago. I don't know if he's still there.
All right. Well, I'll track him down. Anyway, I'll need to get him on there.
Russell Mason's the man to track everyone down. He knows everyone and where they are.
I know he does. And getting Russell on is a nightmare. He keeps saying to me, I tell him, don't worry, I'll be on. But getting him nailed it down, I'll tell you.
I'll get him on because I'll tell him I've been on now and he'll come on.
He'll have to come on. You see, what it was when I first started doing this, I'm sure people thought that they were going to be stitched up a bit. I don't know to quite understand what's going on, what you're trying to do. But as it's gone on, now I've got a backlog of players. I've either already recorded. I mean, this is going to come out in 3 weeks' time, something like that. 3 or 4 weeks' time. But then I've also got players ready booked to come on after you, which is fantastic. It really is. And the nice thing about it is, I don't mean this to sound flippant. I'm doing it on behalf of the club and all the non-league players. It doesn't really matter if they haven't got a great affinity with Whitstable, because everybody in Kent League and in this sort of like league football at our standard, everybody knows everybody. I'd say to you about a player that perhaps has only ever been to Whitstable when they come as a visiting player, but you've played with them probably, 20 times during your career when you played for different clubs. How many times, Lee, how many times have you gone to a new club? Makes it sound like you're always at a new club. But how many times, and you walk in and you go, what are you doing here?
Oh, yeah. Well, usually when I went there, I knew they were there, so that's... It was a merry-go-round, wasn't it? It was, a lot of players went where they could get the most money. A lot of players fell out with him over there, so they went here, and it was just a merry-go-round. But no, I always ended up back at 2 clubs, and that was Snowdown and Whitstable.
Very nice too, and I'm thrilled and delighted you did. Yeah, it's really good. Well, I think we better wrap it up here now because unfortunately I'm time sensitive on these things. But it's been a joy to have you on. Really has been good fun. Nice to catch up as well.
And you, thank you very much.
I'll just wind this up here. So from me here at Belmont Banter and Lee on the other end of the phone, it's thank you very much, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers. Bye bye.
Yep. Bye. Cheers, Tony.
Whitstable Town Football Club's main sponsor is Fibertech UK Limited. They are providers of optical fiber services to the telecoms industry, specializing in optical fiber provision, local and long haul. We offer a full turnkey solution to our clients throughout London and the south of England. Contact us through the website for more details.
Your host, Tony Rouse, every week on Belmont Banter for news about local football in Kent and beyond.
I do hope that you've enjoyed today's episode of Belmont Banter. Don't forget there's a new episode out every week which comes out on a Sunday night, early Monday morning. And you can leave your suggestions for a guest to invite at the end. And leave a like and don't forget to pass it on to all your mates. Cheers!